Come join me in my pantry today, and I'll show you how you can make your own onion, garlic, and celery powder. Let me just start by telling you I'm not a professional at this. I don't claim to know everything. I just know what works for me. This is something that I love doing. Honestly, I just love doing it. Yes, it does save money because I already have everything on hand. So if I have some onions that need to be used, that sometimes you buy onions and they're soft or they just don't look as well as they should, keep those onions and use them. Don't throw them. Don't toss them. Use them. You can make minced onions. You can make onion powder. I use these all the time. Garlic, you need to use it up. Make garlic powder. Celery. You can do so many things with all of this stuff. And I even zest my oranges before I peel them, and I save the zest. Yes, you can use the zest in recipes. So I practice all of these things. These are just things that I do here in my pantry. I enjoy doing them. I don't know. It's a simpler way of living, and for whatever reason, it's in my DNA, and I love it. So let me show you how I make onion powder, garlic powder, those are the two things, and celery powder. Have you ever had celery powder? I know you've probably had celery salt or celery seed, but I'm going to do celery powder. So let's just get started here. The first thing I'm going to do is chop some onions. I'm just peeling this onion. I'm going to slice it and chop it into uniform pieces. You can do rings if you like, just be sure everything is about the same size. And then you want to spread it all out onto your tray. I'm going to do the same thing with my celery and garlic, and then I'm going to load it all into the dehydrator. Like I said before, it's important not to overcrowd your trays. You want the air to circulate in and around everything. This is an Excalibur Dehydrator. I'll link it below in my channel box. It's a little bit pricey, and I did have to save up for a while in order to get it. But it was a goal of mine, and I love it. It works great, and I especially love that it has 9 really large trays. Now we just need to set the temperature. So you're going to look for your vegetable setting, 125 degrees, turn your dial, and you're all set. So once I have taken my onions, my garlic, and my celery out of the dehydrator, I just put it in some jars. You can hear it. And it's pretty dry. Oh my gosh, everything is so pungent. I can smell this strongly. I'm not making a lot today. I actually have a lot of this stuff on hand already, but I did want to show you how I do it. The celery took 7 hours to dehydrate fully. The garlic and the onion both took 6 hours. So you can hear pretty dry. So we're going to turn these into powders. So the first one I want to do is the onion. Now the onion, you can leave it like this and just have minced onions. You can use these in soups and stews. They'll rehydrate when you put them in there. You can use them in dips. There's a lot of different things that you can use them for, and honestly I tend to use these 3. These are like the most used ones that I have on hand, so that's usually I do them together. And I know putting them in the dehydrator, you're probably thinking one's going to take on the smell of the other, but they don't. But like I said, I use them together generally, so I don't mind doing them together. This is a coffee grinder. I actually only use it for my spices. I don't use it for coffee because number 1, I don't drink coffee, and number 2, I don't want the coffee grind smell in there. I just want my spices. Okay, so I'm going to pour a few of these in here. There is a fill line in, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a max fill line in here, so I'm not going to go above that max. gonna put those in there, and as far as chopping these up, I just chopped them. You can slice them if you want to. I think I mentioned that earlier. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here, and this might be a little noisy. You can see the powder on the top. Just going to let that settle for a moment and lift this up. And look at this. It's onion powder. Isn't that neat? And it smells so strong. And I will tell you that in regular onion powder, this is actually some that I had made previously because I reuse these containers over and over and over again. So this is actually mine in here. But if you buy some of this at the store, it's not always just onion. There's some fillers in there, so it's not going to be as pungent. This is really pungent. You are going to notice a huge boost in flavor when you do it yourself. So let's just get this out and put it in here. There you have it, onion powder. Now let's move on to the garlic. I love the smell of this. I mean, if you like garlic, oh my gosh, this smells amazing. I'm gonna get all of that in there. Put the lid on. And I'm gonna plug my cord in. I did clean this all out, so it's completely cleaned of the onion powder. And you want to make sure everything is completely dry, because if it's not, you'll get that moisture in your garlic powder, and you don't want any of that. Okay, so let's turn this one on. And just like that, we have garlic powder. An intense, an intense smell. Very intense. Okay, I'm using a small mason jar. This is just the little tiny ones. You can see this is the half pint, and this is just the smaller. So I'm going to put that in there. Get all of that out. Garlic powder. Look at that. You ever seen anything so beautiful in your life? Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, I'm going to cover this up and we'll move on to the celery powder. And again, I've shown you these before, and I absolutely love them, so I am going to show them to you again. These are Parmesan cheese covers. There's a pour out and there's a shaker. I put these on here. They fit on the small ones, they fit on the larger ones. It's what I use for my cinnamon, my nutmeg, baking powder, cloves, whatever. I use it for all of that. And it's easy for me to get in here with a spoon and scoop out what I want. It's easy for me to get in here with a shaker and do that. What I really love, the difference between this cover and this cover, is the only way to scoop this out is if I take this off every single time and scoop it out. And then I'd have to put this back on to sprinkle it. I mean, I could sprinkle this way, but I don't have as much control as I do if I keep this lid on. So honestly, I just hate taking it on and off all the time. So these make that so much easier. Look at this. Green goodness. And it is such a strong scent. I mean, it's just celery. You just smell such a strong celery scent. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. I might grind it up a little bit more. I can see some bigger pieces in there. So let's just go a little bit more with this. You can always use your food processor to do this, but I find that this works better for small amounts. If I was doing like a huge batch, it would take me a long time to do a little bit at a time this way. It would be a lot better for me to do it in the food processor, but for me, these small batches work well this way. Look at this. Oh my gosh. This is going to be so good in so many things. I mean, you can use it in a lot of different things. So let's get this into a jar. a lot of green goodness here. This can be used in dips, in soups, in stews, in roasts. You can use it along with all of these, the celery or the onion powder, the garlic powder. You can grind them up together if you wanted to and just have, you know, a mix all its own, or, you know, just find your own seasoning mix that you like and put those together if you'd like to. I've done onions, garlic, celery, and mushrooms actually together. I know you're probably thinking mushroom doesn't really have much of a flavor, but it actually does. I've added carrots. It's just, I mean, use your imagination. Whatever you want to put into a soup or a stew, it can be dehydrated, it can be broken down into powder form. It can be done in, you know, like the onion minced form. However you want to do it. Okay, so you can see here, I'm going to clean the top out because if I just wiped that out, look what I would be missing. I'd be missing all of this. So I'm going to clean that all out of there and make sure I get all of that into my jar as well. I don't have any more of these little jars, and this is what I was looking for. I'm going to have to look in my downstairs where I keep my jars and see if I have any more down there, but ideally that's what I want to keep it in. But for right now, I'm going to put it in here and put a cover on it. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just love the color of it. You just want to make sure you label on here what it is so you don't get confused, although once you open the lid you're gonna know what it is. Okay, so in looking for another one of these covers right here, guess what I found? I actually got these for a gift, as a gift from my sister, and I totally forgot that I have them. Okay, so they're from Ball. They are dry herb jars. They're 4-ounce ones, so they are same size as what I had wanted, needed. So let me just open those up. Let me get some scissors. I have never seen jars like this. So here you have the jar, and I'm going to need to wash these, of course. And then you have the little shaker top. So you can either remove it to scoop it out, or you can lift this and shake it. I mean, I did make my own. I designed my own, so I guess I knew what I was doing because somebody already thought of this and I didn't know it. So you have the pour and the scoop and you have the shake. I mean, I don't know, you can buy your own or you can save these and create your own. It's up to you. So there you have it. You have your minced onion, your onion powder, your garlic powder, and your celery powder. And you did it yourself. Well, almost. You're going to do it yourself. I know that these are really simple things that you can do at home. Like I said, you can use a food processor if you'd like to. If you don't have a food dehydrator, there's all kinds of them on Amazon. I use an Excalibur. I can link that below if that's something you're interested in. If you don't have one, you can always use your oven. Just set it at the lowest temperature. I would say put it between 150 and no more than 200. Just keep your eye on it. You don't want it to burn. And you just want it dry to the point where if you snap it, you can hear it snap. So you want all of the moisture out of it. You can also use a screen, an old screen, just clean it really well, and you can set that in a warm place in your home. I've done it before over our cook stove. That's a great place to dry things as well. As far as using all of these, well, that's up to you, wherever you want to use them. You can make your own taco seasoning, your own sloppy joe seasoning, use it in soups and stews and anything else that you would use these in. You will notice there's a stronger flavor, so enjoy it. And if you are new, please consider subscribing. Share my video on your social media or with your friends. And if you enjoyed it, leave me a thumbs up. That really helps me a lot. I loved having you here today. I loved sharing this with you today. So thank you for joining me here at Mimi's Pantry.